Welcome to one of the smallest nations on the South American continent, a country which gets its name from its close proximity to the equator. Ecuador is a beautiful country nestled between Peru and Colombia, where the Amazon rainforest meets the towering mountains of the Andes. Today, I want to share all my tips to help you plan your dream trip to the mainland Ecuador, as well as lay out my one-week itinerary for you. Are you ready? Vamos! Before coming to Ecuador, here are the few things you should consider. Depending on your travel experience, I recommend spending a few days acclimating to the altitude here in Ecuador. The city of Quito is situated at 9,350 feet above the sea level, which makes it one of the highest capitals in the world. With that said, bring plenty of water to stay hydrated and lots of sunscreen as the sun here is very strong. The next thing to consider is transportation. I personally found public transportation to be excellent when traveling between the cities, and within the cities, I use taxis or Uber, which is currently available in Guayaquil and the capital of Quito. There's no need to book bus tickets in advance as there are many bus companies located at major bus stations and buses leave frequently. Now let's talk about accommodations. Depending on your travel budget, there are many options from luxury hotels to smaller, privately owned stays. Hotels, bed and breakfasts, and most homestays range anywhere from $50 to $100. If you're not visiting with a family, consider staying with locals to immerse yourself in the culture and perhaps make a new friend. Ecuador is a very affordable country, and at the end of this video, I will share my entire expense list, which might surprise you. You may also be wondering, when is the best time to visit Ecuador? Well, I am here to tell you Ecuador has only two seasons, dry, which lasts between June and September, and wet season, which lasts from October to May. Generally speaking, temperatures range between 60 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit, and here comes my favorite part. There are over 12 hours of sunlight each day throughout the entire year, which provides plenty of time to explore. I have covered the essential information of things to consider before coming to Ecuador, so now let me share my one-week travel itinerary with you. When coming to Ecuador, you will arrive at the Mariscal Sucre International Airport, located about an hour outside of the city. You can take a taxi or an Uber, or even have your hotel pre-arrange a pickup which will set you back around $20. After settling in, I went straight into exploring the old town of Quito. It's worth noting that Quito was one of the first sites listed on a UNESCO World Heritage Sites due to its beautifully preserved colonial architecture. In the main part of the old town, Plaza Grande, you will find the presidential palace, many museums which will teach you about the Ecuador's past, and of course, the old colonial architecture. If you have time, scheduling a walk-in tour is an excellent choice as there's just so much history hidden within these walls. While you're exploring the area, be sure to visit Basílica del Voto Nacional. This neo-Gothic church is one of the most impressive churches in all of South America and serves as a symbol of Ecuador's identity and history. For just $2, you are able to go in and explore the church, but my favorite part is that you can climb one of the towers, and once you're at the top, you can see the entire city of Quito sprawling beneath you. Another great place to visit here in Quito is Parque Ichimbia. The park is located a 30-minute walk from the Basilica, but keep in mind, it is a bit of a climb. Quito, in my experience, is a very safe city, and by walking, I was able to stumble upon some truly unique places. Now, the park offers sweeping views of the city with the popular Quito letters offering a perfect photo opportunity. After relaxing and enjoying some fresh air in Parque Ichimbia, I recommend you check out one of the best places to purchase souvenirs in the city. La Mariscal Artisan Market is one of the best places in the city to purchase some souvenirs, and the market is open daily. However, consider visiting during a weekday to avoid the large crowds. And a bonus tip for those of you who have extra time to spare, check out the Time of Otavalo, located just 2 hours north of Quito. It is home to the largest indigenous market on the continent. Sadly for me, I did not have time to visit during this trip, but it was recommended to me by many of the Ecuadorians. After spending an undeniably first long day here in Quito, there's no better place to end a spectacular day in a new country than at the Virgen del Panacillo statue. From the hilltop, you will have some of the best views of Quito, making it the perfect place to end a busy day. And if you're lucky, you may catch a rainbow. The next day, after taking some time to acclimate, I'm taking you to Rucu Pichincha. To get to this popular destination, you will first need to get to Teleférico Quito, which is one of the tallest cable cars in the world. The cost is $9 for adults, and the ride to the top is really fascinating. As you continue going up, you will notice the change of scenery right in front of your eyes. When you reach the top of the lift, you'll be at over 13,000 feet above the sea level, so bring plenty of water and sunscreen and enjoy the views. Now, if you are fit and feeling a little adventurous, you can hike to the caldera of Rucu Pichincha, which is about a 7-mile round-trip hike. It's a beautiful hike along the ridge, very popular with lots of overlooks along the way. Unfortunately for me, I did not get to complete this hike as I saw the storm clouds rolling in and I decided to cut the hike short. Always pay attention to the weather as you do not want to be stuck on top of a mountain when there's clouds rolling in. Another suggestions of places to visit for those of you who do not want to do this hike, I recommend a visit to Mitad del Mundo, a monument which translates to middle of the world. Located about a 45-minute drive from Quito, you can visit this monument and have the chance to stand in 2 hemispheres at the same time. These are not my photos as I ran out of time to visit while I was stuck at the top of Rucu Pichincha due to a hailstorm that rolled in just as I made it back to the cable car. Once I got back to the city, I took a bus to Latacunga where I would set up base for my next 2 days. The next morning, I was bright up and early to catch a bus to today's destination, the Quilotoa Crater. The reason I decided to stay in the town of Latacunga is that it is conveniently located between Cotopaxi National Park and Quilotoa, the places I will be exploring over the next 2 days. When searching how to get to Quilotoa online, it became quite confusing, so let me give you a step-by-step guidance. First, you're going to find a bus station called Terminal Terrestre Latacunga. Here, you will find and ask for a bus to Zumbawa, which should cost around $5. Once you reach the town of Zumbawa, you will find drivers who will happily take you to the entrance of Quilotoa. Do not pay more than $5 for this one-way journey. There are a few overlooks to check out here called miradors, from which you can see the mesmerizing emerald green lake that has filled the caldera of the volcano after its last eruption over 1,000 years ago. Personally, I think there is no better way to experience this incredible place than by hiking the 7-mile loop around the ridge, allowing you to fully embrace yourself in the surroundings. If you choose to complete this hike along the ridge, you will be greeted by some of the prettiest wildflowers, incredible views of the surrounding mountains, wild landscapes, and perhaps even some of the locals. Whether you're a hiker or just here for the views, Quilotoa should be on everyone's bucket list when visiting Ecuador. The following day, I set out to see one of my favorite mountains, or should I say volcanoes, in the entire world. Cotopaxi volcano, located just 35 minutes from Latacunga, is the 3rd largest active volcano in the world. My day began at Latacunga's bus station by taking the bus back towards Quito. I had to let the bus driver know to let me off near the entrance of Cotopaxi National Park. To explore Cotopaxi National Park, you have 2 options. First, if you have your own rental vehicle, you can explore on your own, or you can choose to go with a guide, which will cost approximately $20 to $40. I chose the latter, and I am happy that I did because the roads here can be rough. For my first stop today, our guide took us to Laguna del Limpiampungo, a small lagoon overlooked by Volcan Ruminawi, a dormant volcano that's also a very popular hiking destination here in the park. We spent some time here at the lagoon and saw some cute animals, and then we were off to the main attraction of today, Cotopaxi. The drive to the base of Cotopaxi is something I will never forget. As we approached the giant volcano, the clouds started revealing the beautiful red hues of the cooled lava. Soon after we reached the parking lot, we began our climb to Refugio Jose Rivas. It was a slow hike as we began at over 15,000 feet and will be climbing to over 16,000 feet, the highest elevation I have ever experienced. Refugio Jose Rivas is where many hikers sleep before attempting to summit Cotopaxi. If you're interested in climbing this volcano, it is only allowed with a certified guide. Perhaps one day I'll be back here to climb, but that day I was content with my cheese sandwich I bought at the cafe and the views I had in front of me. After my unforgettable visit to Cotopaxi, I set out to a place often referred to as the adventure capital of Ecuador. To get to Baños, I first had to take a bus to Ambato, and once there, I had to switch to a different bus that took me straight to Baños. Baños is well known for its stunning waterfalls, extreme sports, and thermal hot springs. I only stopped here for one day, so let me show you what I did. My goal for today was to see as many waterfalls as possible, so first, I went ahead and rented a go-kart from one of the many stores that can be found around the main plaza. After I was all ready to go, I headed east out of town following what's known as Rutas de Cascadas, or Route of the Waterfalls, and my first stop was Cascada Machay. It is very easy to miss, so pay very close attention to the billboards. It is a quick hike down some stairs to some overlooks, and as you continue down, you'll pass a swinging bridge, and there it is, the beautiful waterfall Machay. Let me now take you to the most impressive waterfall on the agenda today. Pailon del Diablo, or Devil's Cauldron. As the name suggests, this is quite an impressive waterfall due to its sheer force of the water pouring over the ledge. When visiting this waterfall, keep in mind that there are two overlooks, one on the east and one on the west side, both of which cost $2. We begin with the east overlook, where you will need to walk down for about 15 minutes until finally reaching the waterfall. I was feeling a little bit adventurous on this hot summer day, so I crawled behind the waterfall, and as you can guess, I got completely soaked. Now let's head over to the west overlook entrance so we can see the waterfall from a different perspective. If you are coming out here to Pailon del Diablo, I strongly recommend you check out both of the sides, as they are both unique and provide a different vantage point of the waterfall. Let's go check out one more waterfall. This next one we are going to see is called Cascada Manto de la Novia. It is quite unique because after paying $2, you get to ride in a cable car all the way up to the waterfall, which I found to be one of the most unique ways I've ever witnessed a waterfall. Before the day is over, we need to check out one more place which you cannot miss on your visit to Baños, called the Swing at the End of the World. You will first need to get to Casa del Arbol and pay a $1 entrance fee. If the weather permits, this is a great place to come for a sunset. There are beautiful gardens, a treehouse, cafe, and of course the most popular attraction, the Swing at the End of the World, which sits at over 8,500 feet. There's a guy who stands there and pushes you as high as the swing can go, making it an exhilarating ride. After an exciting day of exploring these majestic waterfalls of Baños, it was time to continue my adventures and head south to the city of Cuenca. If you are traveling from Baños, your best bet is to take a bus from Baños to Ambato, and from Ambato take an overnight bus which takes around 7 hours and costs around $12. The city of Cuenca is by far one of the most beautiful and one of my favorite cities I've visited throughout my years of travel. The city skyline is adorned by the stunning blue domes of Catedral de la Inmaculada de Concepcion, and almost the entire city streets are built with cobblestone, which makes you feel like you step back in time. Let me share some of my favorite activities to do when visiting Cuenca. Let's begin exploring Cuenca right in the heart of the historical district and visit the Cathedral of Immaculate Conception. This cathedral is the heart and soul of the city. Its 3 blue domes can be seen from anywhere in the city. Check out the cathedral's beautiful interior with its high vaulted ceilings, colorful stained glass windows, and an impressive gold altar. On the side of the church, you'll find an entrance to the terrace, which I highly recommend. From the top of the church, you'll get an unobstructed panorama of the entire city surrounded by the Andes Mountains. The next must-see here in Cuenca are the variety of food markets scattered around the city. I recommend Mercado de 9 de Octubre. It is centrally located and just a few streets away from the cathedral. Here, you can find fresh produce, meals to order, and lots of delicious juices on the top floor. After you are done filling up your tummy, you can check out the artisan market that's located on the same square. Here, you can browse through all sorts of souvenirs and other products that you can bring back home with you. Another recommendation I have for you here in Cuenca is to explore many of the city's stunning churches. Each of these churches have its own history and architectural flair. Some of my favorite and most beautiful churches that I think you should check out are Iglesia San Sebastián, Iglesia de San Alfonso, Iglesia de Santo Domingo, Iglesia La Merced, and finally, Iglesia Turi. If you end up making your way out to this last church, you'll be in for a treat because this is one of my favorite spots in the city and my next recommendation. I think there's no better spot to take in the city views after a long day of exploring than here in Mirador de Turi. You can hire a taxi or walk like I did. Ecuador is totally safe. It has been an unbelievable week here in Ecuador, and I cannot believe this is the last day of my adventures. I hope you've enjoyed this action-packed itinerary, and for the last day, I am going to tell you about Parque Nacional Cajas. This park is one of the most unique places I've ever been to. The rugged, mountainous area sits at over 10,000 feet, and most of it is covered in moor and shrubbery. The biggest draw of this area are its many lakes and lagoons. As a matter of fact, there are over 250 of them scattered throughout the park. There are plenty of hiking trails to choose from in the park. I was lucky enough because I was visiting with a local friend who took me on an unconventional hike to see some of the prettiest lagoons in the area. You can search on old trails for different hikes you can explore. I would personally recommend that you make your way to Laguna Luspa, the largest lake, followed by Laguna El Ocho and Laguna Negra. You can finish off your day at Mirador Tres Cruces, an excellent vantage point to take in the views of the surrounding mountains. Wow, what a week this has been. I am so happy I was able to put this video together and share what a beautiful country Ecuador is. More importantly, I invite you to watch my daily vlogs, which I will link up at the top of the screen. Now, some final thoughts on the trip. Guys, I felt super safe during my entire stay, but please be smart and always keep your head on a swivel. The transportation I found to be exceptional. The buses between the cities are so easy to use and are very cheap. And now the moment you've been waiting for. How much did I spend for this 1-week excursion? My round-trip flight from Chicago to Quito cost $350 US. My accommodations for the entire week cost about $200. Activities, which included my visit to Cotopaxi with a guide, were $150. Transportation, $100, which included Uber to and from the airport. My food for the week was very cheap for a total of $100. Add in some miscellaneous expenses and this brings this week's total to around $900 US, which makes this one of the cheapest trips I've ever taken. I really do hope this video is informational and fun to watch, but if you have any further questions, leave me a comment and I will get back to you. Thank you once again, and I'll catch you on the next one.